Hello everybody, how are you doing? A really warm welcome to my channel. I hope you're doing really well. This week I'm spending a little bit of time in my little back garden, which is a really important space to me. Recently I've been struggling with a few big things that have been going on in my life. Lots of it is work related, but it's been causing me a heck of a lot of stress and I've really not been feeling great. I've really wanted to get out in my garden to start getting it sorted out for the upcoming season, but I just haven't felt like it. Anyway, the last week I've been on a week's holiday from work, so I decided that it was time to get started and start putting this little space back into some kind of order and to be a place where I can be calm, relaxed and feel much better. So I've done a few little tasks that I wanted to share with you, and you can see just looking around the garden, it's a mess at the moment. It's not the most inspiring space. There's a lot to be done, but I've given myself permission to not feel that I need to do everything in one day, because that's what I tend to do. I will start a task and I cannot leave it alone until it's finished, and I end up completely burnt out. I know it's going to take quite a lot of work to get my garden looking like this, which is what it looks like in the spring and summer, and it's a space that I absolutely love to be in. It's going to take some work, but I'm going to start small and I'm going to keep at it and just make little changes here and there, and I'm really going to enjoy the process, because that's something else that I tend to not do, is I really hurry and I don't enjoy what I'm doing. So the first thing I'm going to do is just start by lighting a little bit of incense and spending time in the space and welcoming the elements into my little space. So I'm thinking about how I want this space to look and how I want it to make me feel, and about the times that I want to spend here. And I'm going to invite people around to join me for tea and for cakes and a little bit of good time. So I'm thinking about all these things, and I'm just walking around my garden and thinking about what I want to happen. I'm getting rid of anything that's old and I'm not going to be using again, and I'm going to have a look at my plants. Now, I am not an expert gardener by any stretch of the imagination. I do read gardening books, and I'm going to talk to you about a few of those towards the end of the video, and I do enjoy them, but I tend to just do my own thing, and if something feels right, then I'll just go for it. I'm trimming this lavender back, which I know I should have done earlier in the year, possibly at the end of autumn, but I didn't do it. And anyway, we'll see what happens with it. I'm not that precious about it. If it doesn't work out and it doesn't thrive, I'll just compost it and buy another one. It's no big deal, and I'm not going to lose sleep over it. But I'm tidying up, and while I'm doing this, I'm thinking about what's been happening recently. And I've been going through a lot of work issues, and I know that this is common to a lot of people in the UK at the moment and around the world, and change is really unsettling. And as I get older, I don't know what it is, but I find myself less resilient and less able to cope with big change, and I've felt so out of sorts, and I haven't been myself at all. And is this happening to anyone else at the moment? Are you going through anything like this that's really, knocking you back and making you feel not like yourself? Well, I certainly am, and you're not alone if this is happening to you. And I've just wanted to be at home. I haven't wanted to be out and about. I've not wanted to be with friends. It's nothing to do with them. It's not that I don't love them. I've just been so preoccupied, and I'm so glad that I've got my craft to help me through times like this, to help me focus on what's really important, and to help myself you know, just pull myself around a little bit. I'm so glad I've got Mark and George as well. I'm very, very lucky. And it is helping, and what's really helping at the moment though is the fact that it's getting so much lighter, and we've also had beautiful weather here in the UK this last week. We went to Scarborough last weekend for a couple of days for Mark's birthday, and it was just wonderful. The weather was absolutely perfect. Now, we Brits are obsessed with the weather. If you've been a regular viewer of my channel, you'll know that we love to talk about the weather. It's something we do every day. And yeah, at the moment, it's absolutely beautiful. So it's the perfect time for me to spend some time out in the garden and just starting to get it looking something like it should do. Now, I've got quite a few plans for the garden this year, and I'd really like to get rid of the bamboo fencing that you might have seen at the start of the video. It served its purpose, but I bought it in lockdown, the first lockdown in 2020, and that was the time when I first started really enjoying our little back garden, and I think that in a lot of ways it actually saved me, because I spent a lot of time outside. That summer was absolutely glorious, and I was furloughed from work like lots of us were. So I spent lots and lots of time outside in the garden, and this little space really became my safe place, and I just loved it. So I got the bamboo fencing, and it was great. It looked fantastic, but it's really starting to age now, so I really need to find an alternative, because I'm not sure that I want to have the bamboo again. So if anybody's got any ideas for an alternative kind of screening, I'd really appreciate it. I'm going to grow lots and lots of sunflowers this year. You'll probably know that they're my favourites, and I know that you love them too, because you told me that you do. So I'm going to grow lots of different ones, and I'll show you the seeds I've bought later in the video. And I would really like to get some more comfortable garden furniture for us to sit on. The little bistro set we've got is really nice, but we could do with something a little bit more comfortable, I think. So I'm tidying up and getting rid of all the dead grass from around the edge of the garden, and cutting back my plants that are, you know, ready to begin their new season. Now, I don't know if this is the right time to cut these plants back. I'm not really bothered. If they come again, they come again. If not, it's no problem. I mean, these are the remnants of last year's sunflowers that I've left in the pot, and I've just left them to see, you know, what they do once they've actually finished growing. The answer to that is not much. So I don't know if any of these are going to self-seed. We'll wait and see. But I've got lots and lots of new seeds to show you later on in the video. As I was doing this, I was thinking about the things that have really been bringing me down, and the things that are making me unhappy. And I really did feel out in the fresh air and with just my own headspace, I really did start to feel better. And I'm amazed by how just a couple of hours for a couple of days has made me feel so much happier. And I realise how lucky I am to have this little space. Not everybody does, but I've learned that even the smallest space can be somewhere that you can grow something, you know, even if you've just got space for a window box or a couple of planters out on a balcony. It doesn't have to be anything grand. We don't have any grass in our garden. The little strip of grass that you can see is actually artificial, and I was just given that. I wouldn't have bought it through choice, but I really love the little bit of green that it adds to the garden. Plus, it's really low maintenance. But what this means is we haven't got any earth to plant our plants in, so I have to use containers for everything, and that's absolutely fine. It suits me. I can pick and choose what I want to plant. I can move them around if I want to, and the advantage is that I can choose different kinds of plants for different areas of the garden that may or may not get lots and lots of light. So I'm really happy with that. I love being able to do that. This hydrangea, I rescued it from a hopeless cases table at the local garden centre, and I think it cost me £10, and it's absolutely thrived. It's a beautiful lilac colour, and it's one of my absolute favourite plants, and I love it. So you can get some real bargains. I always head for the hopeless cases table at the garden centre because there's some fabulous ones, and I've rescued some lovely plants in the past. But these are primroses, I think, or they might be primulas, I don't know, but whatever they are, they're absolutely gorgeous, beautiful bright yellow. And this is the first plant that I've planted this year, and just to get my hands in the earth was really, really nice. And I'm so looking forward to planting more as the spring progresses. As a witch, one of the projects I'm really looking forward to working on this year is to incorporate the elements of earth, air, fire and water into my garden space. And I'm going to be using a very special book to help me do this. It's one that I've mentioned many times before on my channel, and I'll be talking to you a little bit more about it later. And I'm doing this because I want to spend more time with the elements and to think about what they mean and their energies and how I can incorporate them into my everyday life. I think the garden is the best space to start doing this. Obviously, as witches, most of us use the elements in a lot of our workings indoors, but I think that outdoors obviously is the most obvious place to bring them to life and to really benefit from them. I'm really looking forward to bringing you along on this journey and showing you how I try to incorporate the elements into my garden. It's only going to be simple because I don't have the space for anything elaborate, but I'm looking forward to seeing what I can come up with, and I really hope that you'll enjoy working on this little project with me as the year progresses. It was round about this time that I uttered the words that Mark absolutely dreads hearing, which were, "Come on, let's go to the garden centre." And his little face hit the floor because he's always wondering how much it's going to cost and how long we're going to be there for. But anyway, off we went to our local garden centre, which was absolutely lovely. And I only went for inspiration. And they did have some really beautiful spring flowers in, but later in the year I want to buy some more snapdragons and some more foxgloves because the ones I've had previously were absolutely beautiful, and I'd really love to grow some more of those. I just adore snapdragons, and I collect the seeds at the end of the season to use in my spell work. And I love them. If you've never seen them, they look like really tiny little skulls. They're absolutely amazing. I did end up buying this beautiful deep pink primula, which is so pretty, and I thought that it was a lovely contrast to the yellow flowers that I've currently got in the garden, and I thought that they'd look lovely together. This is a beautiful garden centre. It's Dunstan in Chesterfield, which is absolutely lovely, and they've got a beautiful farm shop as well. The farm shop is really lovely, but unfortunately it's very expensive, so it isn't the kind of place that I'd come to for a regular shop, but it's lovely just to look at these really beautiful products, and I love how they're all set out. They look so attractive. I did buy a couple of things, but as I said, it's very expensive, but it is nice just to look at these lovely products, and some of the packaging on the items is just gorgeous. Next door to us lives a really lovely lady, and she's got some very young children, and two little boys are absolutely adorable, and you can probably hear them as we're filming. Now, they are obsessed with the garden, and they're of an age now where they're becoming really interested in what I'm doing in the garden. So one of the things that I'm going to do later on is plant some sunflowers with them. And yesterday, while I was actually filming this video, I asked them if they wanted to do that with me, and they were so excited. And I'm really looking forward to doing that with them, because they just absolutely love being outside and they love plants. And a couple of years ago, I had some strawberry plants, and every single day they would ask me if they could have some strawberries, and I didn't even get to taste one of my own strawberries because the little boys had them all, and I didn't mind that. It was just so adorable. But now that the lighter evenings are here, they are outside playing, and I just love it. And it's been a pleasure to watch them grow up, to be honest, because the oldest little boy, he was born 2 days after we moved in, and then his brother came along a year later, and it's just been such a joy to watch them grow up, and I'm really looking forward to spending a little bit of time with them with the sunflowers, and that's going to be great. It's just such a simple thing, but they take so much joy in such a small thing, and it's so lovely that children are enjoying nature and enjoying being outside, and they're not stuck to a screen or just, shoved in a corner. And these little boys are a real ray of sunshine, and I'm so looking forward to spending a little bit of time with them. This little suncatcher is years old, and as the years have passed, it's gradually got more and more battered. It used to have some hanging strings with beads on it, but the wind's battered it and it's got thrown about. But this is what's left of it, and I still love it, and I don't want to get rid of it just yet. It still looks beautiful with the sun shining through it, so I'm just giving it a little bit of a clean, and I think I'll get at least another couple of seasons out of it, and I love it. I don't want to get rid of things if I don't have to. I'm all about trying to keep reusing things and enjoying them for as long as I can. And I just love this little piece. It's so pretty. I'm just taking some time out with a cuppa and I'm going to talk to you about my favourite gardening books. This is the Royal Horticultural Society's book of Small Space Gardening by Kay Maguire, and this is brilliant if you've got only a small space or you've got no space literally. And the important message about this book is that even the smallest spaces can be growing spaces, and I found this book really inspiring. It's told me so much that I didn't realise, and this is one of the first gardening books I ever bought. It's particularly helpful if you're trying to grow a container garden, or if you've only got space for a window box or a couple of pots on a patio. And I've loved this book and I'm really, really glad I bought it. I found it very helpful. I found it non-preachy and it talks to you as though you're eager to learn. It doesn't talk down to you. I don't like books that talk down to you, especially gardening books or things that I don't really know much about. But this book is great for anybody starting out with a small space. This one is the Royal Horticultural Society's How to Garden When You're New to Gardening, and this is a great book. This has so many tips for complete beginners, and it takes everything right down to basics, which is something that I really need when it comes to gardening. The photography is beautiful, and I find that that's really inspiring as well, and gives you so many ideas for what you can achieve when you've started to learn and know a little bit more. And it takes it down to basics, as I've said, and talks about tools, about looking after your soil, finding out what kind of soil you've actually got, choosing plants for different seasons. And I think that this is a great book. It would be a great book for a new gardener, somebody who's just starting out, and I would have loved to have got this as a gift when I was first starting out. But there's so many projects in here, easy to follow. I think that a new gardener would love it. Now, this is my absolute favourite gardening book, and this is The Real Witch's Garden by Kate West. Now, I've spoken about this book before, and I absolutely love it. I think it's a beautiful book, and this is the book I was talking about earlier when I mentioned that I was going to be using this book to help me to make my garden more elemental. I'm really looking forward to using it for it, and this book goes beyond the things that are in the other basic gardening books. This is talking about the garden as a spiritual space and how you can use medicinal plants and for food and for spellcraft. I love this book. It's very, very special to me. Kate makes spiritual gardening really accessible. She even talks about an indoor garden and setting up very small spaces, and I just think this is a wonderful book, and I think that any witch would really enjoy being given this book as a gift. I loved spending some time outside with my cuppa in my little space that was starting to look tidier, just enjoying being out in the sunshine and reading from this beautiful book. I really love these wind chimes that I got for my 50th birthday 5 years ago. They are Woodstock chimes and their tone is absolutely beautiful, but they are looking worse for wear. They've been out for almost 5 years and they've got a bit of a hammering from the wind and the rain and the snow because I've left them out all year round. So rather than get rid of them, I thought I'd give them a bit of a clean and I would give them a couple of coats of paint and make them look all shiny and new again. So I sanded off the old paint and gave them a wipe down and clean, and I'm going to use the Cuprinol Garden Shades paint in Forget Me Not, and I've used this on the plant stand at the bottom of the garden and I absolutely love the colour. It's gorgeous and I really love this paint. I'm not sponsored at all obviously, but it's absolutely gorgeous. It's a perfect shade of really summery blue, and I didn't know how this was going to work or if it even would work because the wood's taken a real battering, but I am so pleased with how these turned out and I'm really glad that I decided to paint them. I think I might actually draw something on the clapper at the base of the chimes. I'm not sure yet. I'll wait until it's fully dried and I will see if I feel drawn to put something on there. But the blue colour is so perfect, I might just leave it and see how I feel about it. Maybe I'll just leave it, I don't know. I've bought some paper seeding pots. I got these from Aldi and I think they were £1.99. Now I have used these before for my sunflower seedlings and I had great success with these, and I thought that these were an absolute bargain. So I'm looking forward to using these and they'll be great for the little kids next door as well when we actually do our planting. Speaking of planting, here are the seeds that I've chosen. This year I've got the Copper Queen sunflowers, which are the beautiful golden yellow, and I've got the giant ones that the kids are going to absolutely love. And I've also got some cornflower seeds. I've never grown them before, but I love cornflowers and I'm really looking forward to working with these. But for the time being, they're just going in my little seed tin, ready to plant. Now I think the sunflowers, I'm going to plant them on the spring equinox in a couple of weeks. So yep, we'll look forward to doing that little task. I've also got a little greenhouse that I've set up that I'm going to use for my sunflower seedlings. I'm really looking forward to that. Never had one of these before, but I'm really pleased with this. It was from Amazon and it's really sturdy. I'm quite surprised by how sturdy it is, but we'll see how it stands up to the wind. And I think it was about £15, which was next to nothing. I'm really looking forward to popping my sunflowers in this. And the last thing I've got is a couple of these beautiful little plaques. I got these from Asda. I think they were £3 each, and they're a kind of resin. They're quite heavy, and I just loved the feel of them and the fact that they aren't a regular shape. They look quite rough and I like that. I got the sun, the moon and the stars, and I put them up next to my greenhouse and I love them. And this is the end of the video for this week, and I really hope that you've enjoyed this and that you will join me again very soon for another video. And until we meet again, look after yourselves, keep your light shining, keep your lovely heads up, and thank you for being here. Blessed be.